I made a circle time video for you. So today we're going to talk about my very favorite animal of all animals, frogs. So let's start with our good morning song. I've been waiting for you to come to this place, waiting for you to come to this place, wherever you're from, I'm glad that you come. I've been waiting for you to come to this place. And I don't think we can really talk about frogs unless we sing our 5 green and speckled frogs song. So I hope you help me out. If you remember, we usually get our 5 green and speckled frogs out and we put them on our log, like our arm. And then one jumps into the pool where it is nice and cool. And then there are 4 green speckled frogs. But I'm going to play my guitar, so I can't do all the motions. So you'll have to do the motions. 5 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool, waving his face and cool. Then there were 4 green speckled frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. 4 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool, waving his face and cool. Then there were 3 green speckled frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. 3 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool, waving his face and cool. Then there were 2 green speckled frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. 2 green and speckled frogs sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. One jumped into the pool, waving his face and cool. Then there was 1 green speckled frog. Ribbit, ribbit. 1 green and speckled frog sat on a speckled log, eating some most delicious bugs. Yum, yum. He jumped into the pool, waving his face and cool. Then there were 3 more speckled frogs. The end. All right, Mr. Matt is being my videographer today, and he's making silly faces at me. So if I start laughing, it's probably Mr. Matt's fault. All right, let's take a quick peek in our eagle nest. I don't know if any of you have been watching the Decorah Eagle Feed, but I sure have. And there are 1, 2, 3 baby chicks, which means that all of the eggs hatched, which is such happy news. I don't know if you remember last year, but one of the eggs cracked, and then there were only 2 eggs. But this year, all 3 of the eggs that she laid hatched, so that's wonderful. They're still eating fish, 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 and Mama takes her talons, and Dad takes his talons, and they rip off part of the fish, or she takes her beak and she rips it off, and she dangles it over their mouths, and they eat it. Is that how your parents are feeding you at home? They take little bits of cereal, little bits of your sandwich in their mouth, and they rip it all up and spit it in your mouth for you? Yeah? No. All right, well, the other animal we've been really watching is our tadpoles. And our tadpoles are finally really starting to get big and starting to change. I brought 2 frog books for you today because I wanted to talk a little bit about different kinds of books. There are 2 distinct categories of books, and those are fiction, which are made-up stories, and nonfiction, which means true. So let's take a look at these 2 books. Which one of these books do you think is make-believe, a made-up story, and which one do you think is true? It has information in it. Well, before we even read the book, let's take a little peek through this book. We see drawings. These drawings are photographs. And this is a book. It's called See How They Grow. And this one's about frogs. And this is a book that tells you all sorts of facts and true information about frogs and tadpoles. I'll read it to you in just a minute. This book is called Froggy Plays in the Band. And it seems to be a book about Froggy playing a saxophone. Now, Froggy is playing with his friends Beaver and Cat. and they're playing instruments. Now Froggy has on a nice outfit. He's got some shoes on. So this is a true story, right? Right? If you go outside and you look for frogs in the ponds near your house, are they going to be wearing outfits? Wait a minute. This one is our fiction book. This is our make-believe story. And I love make-believe stories. They are so much fun. But they're not totally true, right? Because we know that in real life, out in nature, frogs do not wear shoes. And frogs do not play saxophones. But if you want to learn something about the real frogs we find in nature, a non-fiction book is what you're looking for. So let's read our non-fiction book first, and then we'll read our Silly Froggy book. Frog. Can you see okay there, Mr. Matt? And after I read you these books, I'm going to show you the tadpoles, and then you'll have to try and figure out which stage of life our tadpoles are in right now. Okay. This frog is my mother. She has just laid all of these eggs in the water. These eggs are called frog spawn. Each black egg is surrounded by clear jelly, and they all stick together. Each egg is growing into a tadpole, and one of them is me. This is a cute book because it's told from the perspective of the little frog. Just hatched. After 2 weeks, I am ready to hatch. Look at my long feathery gills. They let me breathe underwater. I push my way through the frog spawn and I swim away. Because we know that tadpoles are not the kind of animal that stays with their mother after they hatch. Tadpole. I am 4 weeks old now. I like to swim with the other tadpoles. My gills have closed up and I swim up to the surface for each breath of air. I am growing bigger and bigger. We all feed on tiny underwater plants. And this is something I've noticed a lot with our tadpoles this week, is where they used to have these little round gills on the sides of their face that help them get oxygen out of the water. Those gills have gotten smaller and even started to close up on some of the big ones. And when they want to breathe, they have to go up to the top of the water, take a little breath, and then go back down. Back legs first. I am 6 weeks old and I have grown much bigger. I eat plants and insects that fall into the water. I like to swim on my own now. My back legs are beginning to grow. I am slowly changing into a frog. So here we have tadpole. The gills are almost closed up and little tiny back legs. I think this is about where we're at. Frogpole. I am 9 weeks old. I am half tadpole and half frog. My back legs are growing longer and now my front legs are growing too. I haven't noticed front legs on any of our tadpoles yet, but I'm watching for it. A frog at last. I am nearly 12 weeks old and I am a frog at last. I still have a long tail which helps me swim, but it's getting shorter. Here is a really big frog. Now look how small I am beside her. Out of the water. Now I am more than 1 year old and I spend most of my time on land. I sit quietly watching out for an insect to eat. Then I shoot out my long tongue and snap it up. And then here's a summary. See how I grew. The egg, just hatched, 4 weeks old, 6 weeks old, 9 weeks old, 12 weeks old, over 1 year old. I think ours are somewhere between 6 and 9 weeks old. So that was our true story, all about frogs. Now let's read our silly fiction story. Froggy plays in the band. Whoa! Jumped right out of my hand. At school one day, Froggy read a sign. It said, "Marching Band Contest, Big Prize." "Great," said Froggy, "a band contest." He flopped over to Miss Martin, the music teacher. Flop, flop, flop. "What's the big prize?" asked Froggy. "It's a surprise," she said. "If you and your friends start a marching band and compete against other schools in the Apple Blossom Parade, you can win the prize." "What will I play?" wondered Froggy. Then he remembered his dad's old sax. And after school, he flopped up to the attic, flop, 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 and started blowing his dad's horn. Honk, bleep, screech! You guys remember when we learned about instruments here? And we had the keyboard and the didgeridoo and the recorders and the trombone. We had all those instruments. There was a little bit of honk squeak going on here, wasn't there? Froggy, called his dad. What? Quiet, please, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone too, cried Froggy. The saxophone, honk. Next day, Froggy got his band together and they practiced in his yard. Max on the drums, kaboom! Leah on triangle, ting-a-ling! Emma on recorder, twiddly! And Hannah, her twin, on cymbals, crash! I want to join too, said Froggelina. What do you play? Asked Froggy. Nothing, she said, but I can do this. And she twirled a baton, tossed it high in the air, and caught it behind her back. Ta-da! Every day after school, Froggy's ragtag band marched around and around the playground. Honk, kaboom, ting-a-ling, twiddly, clash. You think they sounded good? Maybe not really good? And every day, Miss Martin told them the rules for marching. Don't look left, don't look right, and don't stop for anything. Why did you have to go to the bathroom? Asked Froggy. Don't stop for anything, commanded Miss Martin, or everybody behind you will crash into you. 3 weeks left, 2 weeks, 1. Froggy practiced marching everywhere, even in his sleep. At last the big day came. The apple trees had burst into bloom and the parade was ready to begin. Everybody was nervous, especially Froggy. Miss Martin said, now remember, don't look left, don't look right, and don't stop for anything. And the parade began. Being the youngest, Froggy's marching band marched in front, led by the majorette, the one and only Froggelina. Froggy! Called his father. He was jumping up and down on the sidelines, but Froggy didn't look. Froggy! Called his mother. She was aiming a camera, but Froggy didn't look. Cameras flashed, clowns threw candy, and still Froggy marched, looking straight ahead. Here came the judges' stand. This was the big moment. Froggelina twirled her baton. She tossed it high into the air, and Froggy thought, don't look left, don't look right, and bonk! Her baton hit him on the head and knocked him down. Oops, cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. Oof, clang, crash! And the rest of the parade piled on. Froggy! Called Miss Martin. What? Came a muffled cry. Are you all right? Froggy crawled out from the bottom of the heap and said, don't stop for anything! And he started to wail a wild swamp tune on his saxophone. The rest of his band joined in and everybody danced in the street. And when the judges' vote came in, Froggy's ragtag band had won a special award. Coolest marching band at the Apple Blossom Parade. What's the big prize? Asked Froggy. This is, said Froggelina, and she gave him a big, juicy kiss. Smack! Right on his cheek. Yeah! Then the judges gave Froggy and his band the real prize, a big golden trophy in the shape of a saxophone. Yes! Cried Froggy, and Froggy's ragtag band played one last time. Honk! Kaboom! Ting-a-ling! Tweedledee! Clash! And that's the end of our fiction story, our silly frog story. I don't think that could really happen, but it's a pretty funny story to think about. All right, I'm going to take the phone from Mr. Matt, and I'm going to take you over to see the tadpoles. So thank you for filming for us today. All right, let's come on over and see how our tadpoles are doing today. Hello! Hello, guys. I have been taking care of them and giving them fresh water and giving them algae tablets every day for their food. If you see, there's an algae tablet, that green thing that's on the, that green thing right there next to the tadpole. That's what they eat. Let's see. I also put a ramp in their cage, in their tank, because as they start to get legs, they're going to want to use those legs, and they need to be able to kind of get up and out of the water. I don't have it pointing too far out of the water yet because they really are still swimming around, but we'll put less water in it as they get to be more frogs and less tadpoles. Hello. I think I must have come at tadpole nap time. They're all looking a little, sleepy. I always think it's funny when they rest, they kind of turn over a little sideways and it almost makes them look dead. But I promise, they're not dead. Right, buddy? I know you guys gonna swim around for us? If I knock on your cage a little bit, can I wake you up? Hello? No. Maybe, I wonder if I can zoom in on their legs at all. Okay, you can sort of see, right? Let's see, where's my finger? Right there, right by where my fingernail is his leg. You gonna move for us and show off your legs? No, you're not gonna cooperate today. I understand. And then over here we've got this guy who I don't think has legs yet. Or if he does, they're very, very small. And then we have this guy over here. And I think the fourth one must be down in his hidey hole back there. They really like this little cave that's made by the ramp and the rock. And there's our pleco back there, our little vacuum cleaner fish, cleaning everything up for us. So we will keep watching these guys and see what happens. Oh, well, hi there. You decided to wake up for us. Thank you. Can you give a little swim around? Oh, now you wake up your buddy. He says, here, I want to be on camera. You can see right here, he has gills, his gill, zoop, right there by my fingernail. You can see that's where his gill is, or kind of gill was, but it's starting to close up. They're not using their gills as much. They're going up to the top of the water every little while to take a little breath of air. Yeah. Alright, tadpoles, well, we will see you very soon. And little garden schoolers, I hope you're all doing well. I miss all of you, and I hope you're enjoying all the sunshine and the flowers that are coming out. And the springtime. We've waited a long time for the spring, so I hope you enjoy it. I'll be back with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.